More news coming down the wire or for the Bernie Sanders campaign, I should say, and couldn't be at it any better time given that the Iowa caucuses, I believe, are next weekend. So this is from Common Dreams. Up 6 points as Buttigieg and Biden stall. Sanders takes commanding lead in Iowa poll. The new poll showed Sanders with 25% of Iowa vote and 40% of support from those under 30 in the state. That is, both of those are impressive numbers, but especially that second one. For almost half of all voters under 30 in Iowa are supporting Bernie Sanders. That's pretty incredible, and it makes sense. His policies and platforms, benefit young people as well as old people, and young people tend to be more, progressive in a lot of ways. So it makes sense that Bernie Sanders has so much support among those voters under 30. Senator Bernie Sanders has a strong lead over his Democratic rivals among likely voters in Iowa, according to a New York Times Siena College poll released Saturday, just over a week out from the state's caucuses. The Vermont senator had a backing of 25% of respondents, a 6-point surge since the last Times Siena poll from late October. And that's pretty close to mirroring his jump in support in New Hampshire as well, but I think he went up 7% in New Hampshire in 1 month. So he's just positive, all around. The support captured by Sanders from younger Iowa caucus voters blows away his rival. Sanders had 40% from those under 30. Warren and Buttigieg came in distant second at that group, with each just getting 16. Wow, so Bernie has more support for the under 30 voting population. Let's see, almost more than Buttigieg, Warren, and Biden combined. So 32, yeah, he has 40%, Bernie Sanders, and those three combined only make it up to 42. So that's just how much Bernie Sanders and the movement he represents are just totally tapping into the youth movement and just, the politics of the youth in the United States, and I think probably globally, are, the younger people tend to be more progressive. So, and Bernie's the most progressive candidate, so it makes sense that he has the overwhelming youth support. For those aged 30 to 44, Sanders was again in the lead with 31%, trailing well behind at 19%. Warren and Buttigieg tied for second place. Biden followed with 14%. So again, more than, quite a bit more support than all the other candidates there. And then again, this is, why it's super important for Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, whoever else, to point out Joe Biden's horrible record on issues that affect older voters, senior voters, because this, as it says, Biden bested his rivals with voters over 65, nabbing 32%, with Buttigieg a distant second at 17. Harp on the point that Joe Biden on multiple occasions has been more than willing to cut the benefits to any program. He said it in his words, look it up, including Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, veterans benefits, anything. He's willing to cut those, and I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be willing to do the same when he was elected president. I wouldn't be surprised if he's willing to compromise with the Republicans on, cutting entitlement benefits. And Bernie's super strong on those issues. He's never wavered. He's always been in support of protecting those benefits and strengthening them. Can't say the same thing about Joe Biden. Let's see. A possible factor in Sanders' lead in a new poll, progressive journalists John Nichols and Crystal Ball suggest on Twitter, could be Senators' rejection of Donald Trump's march to war with Iran. Crystal Ball says pundits have routinely underestimated how much voters care about issues of war and peace. And then, John Nichols makes that point. So look, 7-point lead over Buttigieg, 8-point lead over Biden. Warren's at 15, Klobuchar 8, Steyer 3. Yang 3. Let's see. As the Times reported, the race remains up for grabs. 39% said they could be persuaded to caucus for a different candidate. Still, another good sign for Sanders supporters was the Iowa poll out earlier this month from Des Moines Register, CNNmedia.com. That put him in the lead with 30% or 20%, a 5-point surge in support from November. And then, this is super important too. Sanders on Twitter said Saturday it was not a moment for complacency. Quote, "We've got a long way to go," he said. "It's going to be a tough fight, and we can't take anything for granted. Knock on doors, make phone calls, do everything you can. Indeed, now is not the time to let up on the gas pedal, if you will. The Iowa caucus is our next weekend, and like Bernie said, let's keep knocking on doors, making phone calls, donating, talking to friends and family members, posting on social media to make sure Bernie's the Democratic nominee, and then we'll do everything we can to make sure he defeats Donald Trump."
Also, guys, comment down below if we should vlog my birthday trip. Peace out.